everybody trying to be content creators and trying to go viral. You want to go viral?
Okay, you want to go viral. Let's go viral then.
Say less.
Let go.
Let's embrace it. Let's love it. Let's enjoy it. And let's give them the experience of their life. That's Roswell for you, baby. Come together. And guys, this is Speaking Out Loud. I appreciate you guys joining us. Don't forget to share and dance like you just don't care. It's early in the morning. Let's have a day. And like I said, be a friend. Tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Shout out PMS.
Good morning and welcome to Speaking Out Loud. I am your host, Rene Borba, and along with me is the man with the bars, the man with the tries, the one with the broad chest, the one, the only John Barba. Johnny,
What is going on?
that hair is looking fresh, my boy. Some people out here hating just a little bit, but I think you look good. I think you look good.
That's what we
I
live
don't want to
for.
gas you up. I don't want to gas you up, my boy, but I'm digging the look. I'm digging the look, JB. JB. A lot of stuff was happening in the sports world yesterday, in our world specifically, in our little bubble. But to start off, it's supposed to be cold as hell this morning, or this weekend here in Roswell, New Mexico. We're expecting a little bit of snow, some ice. So people are starting to throw out the alerts. Be careful. Start to stock up. Go get your groceries. Go get your waters. Go get your necessities, and kind of prepare to be locked in at home for just a little bit. I know a couple years ago, I don't know if you remember, they call it Goliath. Do you remember when we had like that crazy snowstorm where like I think the snow was up to our waist? It was fun for like the first day or two, and then after about that second day, it was just like, all right, come on, let's get back to life here. Let's get back to life. And I remember, JB, that me and my sisters, we were jumping, like we jumped off my mom's roof. Granted, the roof's not like crazy high, but it was a good time. It was a good snow day as kids, right? I mean, I think you remember back when we were kids, when it would snow, the first thing we would do as kids, we'd go out and play some ball, and that was probably that was the one time we probably should have gotten hurt as kids, but it's like you didn't feel anything. The body was numb, and once you got used to the snow, it was like you had pads on all of a sudden. There's some good times as kids. Would you agree with me there?
Oh yeah. There's some good
You
moments for
prepared?
sure.
You got your groceries?
Huh?
Are you prepared? You got.
I need to get a few things, but for the most part, yeah. Need to stock up a little bit.
Well, let's hope that some people save a little bit of toilet paper. I remember last time the world shut down, that was like the one necessity that everybody thought they needed was toilet paper, right?
Yeah. If it's not
Let's
one thing, it's another.
let's hydrate, baby. Get your H2O and get it rolling. Don't forget 30 minutes a day, make the pain go away. At least that's what they say. At least that's what the social media doctors say. So, and for me, every time I do work out, it does feel
Stay
great.
hydrated.
There you go, baby. Dang, you're down deep already? 6:30 in the morning, we're almost down a gallon.
No. I just
yeah.
have a little bit left over from the night before, so.
Oh, okay. I got you. I was like, damn, my boy's out here just gloop, 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 gloop. Just ready for something. Hell yeah, JB. All right, well, let's get straight to it, man. What news broke yesterday? Mike McDaniels looks like he's not taking a head coaching position. He's going to go ahead and maybe take a step down, and he's signing with the Los Angeles Chargers. He would be the offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert and Mr. Harbaugh. How are we feeling about that hire?
I kind of like it. I think it's going to be a good fit. It could be something that Justin Herbert's 0-3 in the playoffs. We don't call him a playoff quarterback. He's kind of gotten some heat this past year, just for his performance. Again, not getting it done, only putting up 3 points against the Patriots. So you can see that a lot of people. He's got a lot of criticism towards his name and everything like that. So I think Mike McDaniel is going to help instill maybe a little bit better of an offense for Justin Herbert and those guys to excel. So I think this could be one of those pieces, and it makes sense to help possibly get them over the hump, or at least I think it's a successful hire if they can win 1 or 2 playoff games this next year. You get the O-line healthy. You might end up getting another guy in the draft as a receiver, maybe bring someone in as a free agent. Keenan Allen's getting older. So I think they have the pieces. I think they just need to put it together and get healthy on that O-line. When you have some of the lowest ranked offensive linemen in the entire league, That's quite concerning. They
That's
were
a
playing
problem.
musical
That's a
chairs,
problem.
with the offensive line. So I think Mike McDaniel's going to come in. He's going to build an identity. He's going to structure a good offense around Herbert that's going to help him excel. So I think this is a perfect hire that makes sense for me. And I think a perfect spot for Mike McDaniel to go to an established quarterback who just needs that little extra push, that little extra, umph to get him
Yeah.
over and possibly make a run. I think that's what they're banking on Mike McDaniel to do. And that's why they brought him.
Right.
That's why I think it makes sense for Mike McDaniel to step down from the head coaching position and take over the offensive um, scheme for the Chargers, because it obviously we saw the kind of ceiling as a head coach that he might have. Although Tua was kind of a limited quarterback in a lot of ways. So I think Justin Herbert's the full package when it comes to what you want in a quarterback. So put it together, and you want to make a deep playoff push. At least when one
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
next year. I think that will be a successful hire.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. Whenever I saw this, immediately I was like, damn. First, it's like, wow, he's taking a step back. He's taking the OC position rather than one of these open spots at head coach. That tells me a lot about his character. I mean, he's one of the guys that's not going to let his ego get in the way. Obviously, this tells you this guy cares about winning. And right now, maybe it was just too early. Don't I'll expect him to get a head coaching position later on in the future. Obviously, he was a hot commodity. He denied the Cleveland Browns an interview, which that was interesting as well. Kind of like, no, thank you. I've already went through that whole rebuilding thing. Didn't work out for me. I'm going to go with a guy that we know can be a great quarterback. So shout out to Justin Herbert, man, getting his guy. Immediately, though, JB, I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking. I'm like, okay, I mean, we can't look past the fact that that offensive line was hurt. I mean, they did lose two All Pros that will be coming back next season to get healthy. I would like to see them in the draft, maybe just stock up on that offensive line so that way they don't have to play
100%.
musical chairs again because injuries is part of the league, unfortunately. That's
100%.
one thing we hate, right? We kind of pray at the beginning of the year that injuries aren't going to happen, but they slowly do come in. And you got to have a little bit of luck. That's really the name of the game. A little bit of luck has to play in your success just a little bit. That's like in everything, right, JB? Just timing is everything. But after I thought about the O line, I was like, man, how cool would it be if they invested in the O line in the draft, and then they went out and maybe got someone that's a little pissed at their own team and maybe wants out of their team. And I'm thinking, wow, who could that be? Oh, AJ Brown. That wouldn't be a bad guy to go get, huh? Someone the best. They name him the best on TV at one on one. If you look at the stats, he is the best one on one receiver. Nobody can guard him. It seems like nobody can guard him whenever they're one on one coverage. I would like to see the Chargers go after someone like an AJ Brown to add a little spice to that offense. I texted Erob, one of our friend of the show, and I was like, dude, how sick would it be if these guys went to go get AJ Brown? He's like, they already have receivers, and I thought to myself, like, do they? Who do they have? I mean, old Keenan Allen. No disrespect to Keenan Allen. I mean, that would be sick to still have him if he was like your wide receiver 3, right? And then who else they got? They got Mike Williams. I think it is, or the gentleman that they got, the kid that they
Quentin
drafted that
Johnson.
dropped the hell balls the year before,
Quentin
and
Johnson.
then
Johnson.
yeah, Quinn. My bad. There you go, Quinn Johnson. Then he had kind of a resurgence last year, which is cool, but still not in my eyes, at least, not yet a wide receiver
Be a
one. Go
game
get
breaker.
someone like an AJ Brown that can help that kid develop. I mean, just look at what him and Devonta Smith were able to do
Or
in Philly. Go ahead.
who could be a sneaky good pickup could be maybe a Tyreek Hill, because he still wants to play. He's got to get healthy from this injury. It's going to take a while. I don't know if he starts week one, but he's familiar with Mike McDaniel, and he had some success in Miami. You go to LA now, better weather, all that good stuff. I, I think that prolongs Tyreek Hill's career a little bit, and they have some familiarity together. And that's, Justin Herbert needs a game breaker sort of receiver like that. He's got the possession guys, he's got the tall guys. I think he needs like a game changer, at the position too. So maybe that might work. Get him on a decent deal. He's got a lot to prove after that injury. He's in his 30s already. So that's something that might make sense.
Yeah, maybe Miami would want to move on from him because maybe Miami is rebuilding and Miami is stacking up. It seems like they got that defensive mentality right with their hire, like you explained yesterday, and maybe they're gonna load up on defense and kind of unload on offense just a little bit. I like that thought process. My only concern would be like, who knows what's gonna happen with Tyreek Hill? Like that was a massive
He
injury. Does
still
he
wants
even
to
come
play.
back next year?
Yeah, he still wants to play though. He did say he still wants
For
to
sure.
play. He's got a lot of kids to feed. A lot of
Yeah,
kids.
that's for
A
sure.
lot of child support.
Too many kids. A lot of shots. Yeah, definitely. And a couple fines. A couple fines. A lot of Tyreek Hill, come on, man. Let's get it together.
Come on.
Let's get together. Let's turn the switch and let's get together. We're rooting for you, kinda. There's some stuff that can't root for, but come on, man, get it together. It's time to change. The time to change is now. Time to change is now. Get it together for the football world. It's such a small bubble. I hate JB. I hate whenever we have to get outside our sports bubble because sometimes some of the outside stuff kind of interferes with the stuff that we enjoy to talk about. And when that stuff does happen, it's just like, stop, get out of this world. But yeah, I like that. Tyreek Hill, that's one of those maybe sneaky, like you said. A little sneak that one in. But to me, first thing I thought about was AJ Brown. He wants out of Philly. Why not go to LA? Maybe the only reason he might not want to go to LA is because the taxes, I guess, right? That'd be like the only thing because they take like 50% of their tax money. So I don't know. But that was cool to see. I like that. Shout out to the Chargers getting their guy. It seems like they're moving forward, and now it's just like, damn, this is the team though where it's like all season, people are gonna be like, well, let's just wait to the playoffs. Let's just wait to the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Like they go on a 10-game winning streak. That's the comment that's going to be reiterated every week to every Chargers fan as they're getting hyped. And this is what I got to say to Chargers fans. Enjoy it every week. Do what the Bears did. Enjoy it. Be hyped about it, but be humble. Be humble because the louder you get, the louder the noise is going to get around Justin Herbert. And right now, it seems like it's kind of calm. It doesn't seem like Justin Herbert gets too much pressure put on him. But this next year,
Gonna
there's no
change.
excuse at all whatsoever, not even injuries, because you're able to go into the draft right now and kind of unload on the offensive line. So that way you can have a little bit of depth, because that's one thing that I think we noticed about the Chargers. They had absolutely no depth at that position. So shout out to Mike McDaniels on his new hire, and hopefully he has some success out there, JB. Something else that happened yesterday was my boy, Trayvon Diggs. Really? I don't know if this is news, but we got to say it because it's my dog here, man. Trayvon Diggs did get released by the Green Bay Packers as of yesterday. I think this was expected. I don't know how much of a surprise this was. My sister threw this into the group chat, and I was just like, I'll respond to that on the show tomorrow. And to me, obviously, it was expected. It was just kind of like a playoff run to see, just to add a little bit of depth in that position. Obviously, the Packers were hurting quite a bit. But do you think Trayvon Diggs will find a job in the NFL again?
I think so. I think he'll find a spot at the right price. You know, he's not going to be carrying that big contract around anymore. So I think a team. I don't know. I don't know if he's a guy that you bring into a contender. He might just go to like one of the worst teams, you know, that needs some cornerback help. Like that seems to me the type of player that he is now. You know, he had his ceiling, you know, his trajectory was up. It was really high in Dallas. And then, ever since that all pro year, it's just a downhill roller coaster. And I don't
Been
know if
rough.
you can get that back. I don't know if he's the type of guy you want in a locker room that's already established, that's already deep, that's already making a run, that's already going to be a contender, not only for this year, but for the years to come. I don't know if he's one of those guys. So does he go like on a team maybe rebuilding, a team that just needs some cornerback depth? Like it's one of those things where he's not going to be the number one or the number two guy, I don't think. You know, I think
Yeah,
you
for
bring
sure.
him
For
in
sure.
and if he does perform well, great. You know, then you can raise him up, you know, put him up in the ranks and see where it goes from there. But I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that these Super Bowl contending, you know, playoff teams are looking for, you know. So I don't know what's next, but I think he will find a team for sure.
Not a bad spot to go land in. I think would be maybe if Mike McCarthy actually gets the job in Pittsburgh, maybe go to Pittsburgh. There's a couple old heads over there. Go join Jalen Ramsey. Maybe you'd be put in a spot there where you'd be like the
You want
cornerback
another
two,
old
cornerback three.
you want another old veteran though that's got an ego, you know, that was at the peak of his performance and now is declining from that. Do you want another guy like that? I don't think I think Pittsburgh is one of those teams that you do not want to have no older veterans on the team. Like for me, I think you go super young with a team like Pittsburgh. You go young, you start rebuilding that defense young. So I don't know. For me, it may be somewhere
So
like
you're turned off by the antics. You're turned off
yeah.
by his
So
mentality just a
I
little
really
bit.
don't think a team with an established defense
Culture.
and a good a good room defensively. I don't think a team like that brings them in. I think it's going to have to be somebody. Maybe you see. I don't know. I can't think of anybody right now.
Buffalo.
But maybe an up and
Maybe
coming.
Buffalo.
What'd you say? Maybe Buffalo.
Yeah, maybe Buffalo.
I don't know. No, I don't. Something. Maybe
You're all
the
Trayvon
Giants.
Diggs is not. Trayvon Diggs might get a job week 5.
Maybe the Giants. Maybe the Jets because you
Nate's
have
saying the Jets.
Aaron Glenn, former DB. Maybe you bring that in. That might be a good one. But I think it's going to be a team like that. You lose your number one
Okay.
corner, Sauce, and now you didn't get no interceptions. You didn't get so that makes sense to me. A team that didn't get one interception all year long. You bring a guy who's known for being a ball hawk. That's what he's good at, is being a ball hawk. Bring that in, and maybe you start building up some sort of culture defensively right there. So that kind of makes sense. Something like that. I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to a contender right off rip.
You know who else I wouldn't mind is I wouldn't mind him going to Chicago. Go get
Maybe
back with Al Harris. That was the last time he had a lot. That was at the peak of his success. Maybe he can rekindle that candle and get it rolling. So I think that's where I would favor it the most is, or I hate this, but maybe the Commanders go back with Dan Quinn, also the last person that he had success with. So
yeah,
maybe those two teams are the teams that are the most fitting for Trayvon Diggs. But hey, man, good luck,
those
man.
make sense.
Diggs, I had fun watching you at the peak of your career. It was a good time, but good luck, brother. Good luck to you. Nate's asking here, what moves are the Dallas Cowboys making? As of right now, it's kind of a waiting game. There's two things that we're waiting on. Obviously, who's going to be the next defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, and what are we going to do with George Pickens? It sounds like we're leaning towards franchise tagging George Pickens, which isn't necessarily the time to hit the panic button. I think I think after the franchise tag is put on him, I think the next steps following that come out on the news will be real telling on what the offseason is going to look like for the Dallas Cowboys. And when I say that, JB, I mean the franchise tag is one of those situations where it's like, okay, we're going to buy time so that way we can negotiate the contract. But typically, when that does happen for the Dallas Cowboys, it gets a little messy. Those little negotiating tactics start to come out where like we're going to start to hear about maybe George Pickens' antics back in Pittsburgh, so that way they can lower down the price. I don't want to see that at all. If you're Jerry Jones, this has to be dealt differently. We can't be doing the same negotiation taxes that we have done in the past. If you're going to change, as he's been telling us, it starts with George Pickens, and that's going to be as telling as possible, JB. If this gets messy, I'm going to look into the season. I'm going to look right away into next year's season and think that it's going to be the exact same thing that was put out this past season. So to me, Nate, that's what we're looking for. As soon as George Pickens gets that franchise tag put on him, what's the news that comes out following that?
Restructuring too. A couple moves that you might restructure some of the offense. Maybe Dak. You might restructure Dak.
Yeah, which
You know,
happens every year.
contract
That gets
friendly.
restructured every year. CeeDee Lamb's probably gonna get restructured. I know that they're negotiating contracts on the offensive line. It's a young offensive line, so that's promising. What we do in the draft, that'll be interesting. I'd like it sitting at 12 at the 12th spot. I guess at that point you kind of take the best available. The last time we took the best available, we landed Micah Parsons. Not a bad deal. Hopefully, I don't know, man. The way you were talking about Bane yesterday, that dude from the Hurricanes, I don't know that he falls back to the 12th spot. Maybe we
Sure,
have to move up in a
that's
sense,
an
but
option.
that wouldn't be a bad spot. That
Imagine
wouldn't be a bad spot to be in.
Imagine getting a guy like Bain and then Caleb Downs, or one of those other edge rushers that are coming up. Who's the Texas Tech guy? I think you got a first round edge rusher right
Oh,
there.
Rodriguez, that
No, that's
Rodriguez
the
kid.
linebacker. They have a linebacker and an edge rusher who's solid too. But he might go later on at the end of the back end of the first. So I think if you have Caleb Downs or Ruben Bain, for me, I think you go Caleb Downs. If he's available at 12, he's the best
Thank
safety.
you.
That guy, yeah, game changer. future Hall of
Yeah,
Famer.
and that
Maybe.
was one. I mean, that was one thing we missed the most at the end of the season. You know, they asked Jerry Jones about the defense, and the first name that he mentioned was Jordan Lewis. And look at what Jordan Lewis was able to accomplish over there in Jacksonville. He got the bag, and I'm not sure if he got all pro, but one of the top dogs in the league. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad spot to replace. I know we got Malik Hooker, but he's definitely an older gentleman. Will he stay? He got re-signed last year, got extended last year. But yeah, I like Caleb Downs too, man. But I personally, I want them to stack up that defensive line, man. I want because look at what the Patriots are
I
doing.
think that's one of their
Look at
picks.
granted they got a hell of secondary, but a lot of these guys, a lot of the secondary becomes greater because of a solid defensive line. I mean, when you can rush four, like you got all you gotta do is take care of business in the back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
that's
I like I like where we are though. As Cowboys, I do like where we are. For you guys, let's give a quick update on the Minnesota Vikings. I did see some news yesterday. One of y'all's boys, Kyle Rudolph, was on the Up and Adams show, and he asked about where he felt the Minnesota Vikings were. And correct me if I'm wrong here, if you saw the interview, but uh, basically, what I got from it is he was just a little disappointed that they didn't bring any competition for JJ McCarthy, just to kind of push him and also mentor him. But he's not completely out on JJ McCarthy. He would like them to kind of admit that mistake and bring in a veteran to bring in that competition. And just because JJ McCarthy doesn't get the start next year, it doesn't mean that the Minnesota Vikings aren't sold on him. It's
yeah.
just that's them showing that they're willing to progress the quarterback position rather than just rushing it. That's kind of what I got out of that interview yesterday. Would you say you feel the same
100
on what I
percent
just said
agree.
there?
Yeah, 100% agree. The dude's 22 years old. He's not even 23 yet. So like, yeah, you did kind of just hand him the keys of the Ferrari with no experience driving a sports car before, you know. So I think you you do bring someone in who's gonna either beat him out in camp and he's gonna have to sit for a year, or if he earns the right, if he shows enough improvement, if they feel comfortable. But I think you do have to bring in somebody with a veteran presence. I think honestly, I hate to say it, but I think Aaron Rodgers is it could be that guy. You know, if we can solidify our offensive line, Aerosol was in and out of the lineup. You still have Brian O'Neill, so you still have two All Pro tackles, left tackle, right tackle. Good guard play. Our first round pick Donovan Jackson was only allowed so many pressures. Gave up like one sack this year, so he's an up and coming guard. So I think you solidify that offensive line. Maybe get a center in free agency. There's going to be some good centers that come out this year in free agency. So solidify the O line. You got the weapons around them, and then build in the draft. You know, maybe get a running back. And of course, just keep building up that defense. You know, we got to see what happens with Flores, but I think if a solid veteran will help this team tremendously. He doesn't have to be, you know, Kirk Cousins. He's one of the names floating around too. I wouldn't mind him back. Why not? Why not? He's got the rapport. He's got the weapons still. All the same guys that he was throwing to, he's still going to have them. So I think that's a huge that's a couple good quarterbacks that we can get.
Aaron
Veteran,
Rodgers. Are we still interested in Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. I don't think you need an amazing quarterback, right? I feel like you just need somebody who's going to be a game manager, who has the experience, who knows ball. Both of those guys know ball. Bring in a veteran, and JJ McCarthy can learn behind him. And if he does beat him out, then great. If he beats him out, then great. Then we'll have JJ McCarthy starting, and then this might be his make or break year if he is starting all year. If he is starting all year, I think the leash gets really, really short. And then in 2027, 2028 season, 2 years from now, then okay, we might have to take a new approach to this. But I think you definitely 100%. You bring in a veteran guy who's going to
I
challenge
like it.
McCarthy and that
And
quarterback.
speaking of good old Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons also hired their head coach, who is now Kevin Stefanski. And then Kevin Stefanski's first hire in the building was to keep Jeff Altright, which is the former defensive coordinator for the New York Jets under Robert Saleh. And we did see the improvement last year with the Atlanta's defense. They got some stuff going there towards the end of the year. Now Kevin Stefanski will have a great young core, JB. But this is also up in Adams. I guess I was watching a lot of Up and Adams yesterday. But this is what Kirk Cousins had to say about the hire of Kevin Stefanski.
You know what I'd love to see?
What's that?
I would like to see little you and Kevin Stefanski getting back together.
Band back together.
You tell me. What are your thoughts on that?
We'll see where it goes. I think that's the fact. Is just there's so many unknowns, and
that don't sound like he wants to be a Falcon.
At this point, there's probably more up in the air, than there will be at any other time during this offseason.
I have a knack for making these things, willing things into existence. You can call it prayer. You can call it when's the last time you talked to Kevin? You sent him a text?
Yeah, I probably texted with him this offseason at some point. And it could have been about an inside joke from something from 7 years ago.
You know what I'd love to see?
Yo, the 6'7" thing. You think like we've heard it so much that we accidentally just say it now rather than like you go like 2 or 3 years. Now it's like 6-7 years.
Yeah, like I find
right.
myself catching it, and every time I say it, I laugh. Especially with what I do for work. Like I see a lot of people and like I'll be like saying numbers or something like that, and I'll say it, and it could just be some old couple, like some 60-year-old people, and I'll kind of laugh at myself. For a second, I try to be serious, but yeah, dude, I catch myself saying it. I just can't not think about what I just said. So
yeah. I catch myself doing the same thing. It's like I feel like I used to say like 2 or 3 years, and then now it's like 5, 6, or 7 years, 6, 7 years. Like what the hell? But anyways, sorry about that. That kind of just threw me off just a little bit hearing Kirk Cousins say it. But it does sound like Kirk Cousins wants out, right?
He's in control. He's in 100% control of his contract now. He doesn't have the no trade clause, nothing like that. He can choose to leave. So I don't see why not. For me, I do not see why not. He would be one of the names at the top of the list for O'Connell and the boys to bring back into Minnesota and maybe finish strong because we got everything you need. And there's still, if Brian Flores leaves, that sucks. But I mean, there's still a really good chance that he comes back. So I think some things got to play out before a quarterback commits to us. But we got the pieces. We just need a veteran quarterback possibly, or if JJ McCarthy can just progress and we have that veteran quarterback present, it's going to help regardless. Having a veteran in there in the quarterback room, it's going to help. Especially it's going to help JJ no matter what, if he starts or not. So I like Kirk.
I couldn't agree.
He was cooking.
Couldn't agree more.
He was cooking last year too. I mean, besides that awful loss to the Jets, they went 8-9. They were like 4-8. So I think they went 4-1, and their only loss was to the Jets at the last 5 weeks of the season. So not bad.
Why not, Kirk? Why not? Come home, Kirk. We love you down here. We should have paid you to begin with, but it's okay. We can cut you another check and keep that career rolling. But it seems like Kirk might be a hot commodity, and it seems like he does want to go to a place where he is going to start. So maybe it is the Minnesota Vikings.
I think
also there's a couple other teams that need some quarterbacks, like maybe like a Pittsburgh Steelers or something along those lines. But you go to Minnesota. I know it's cold, but it's indoor, baby. You play indoors, so you don't have to worry about any of the other stuff. Or does he stay with Kevin Stefanski? Because I do remember at some point they did have a lot of success with him and Kevin Stefanski. And now he's got some weapons around him. So that'll be interesting because that Atlanta spot isn't a bad spot to be in. But obviously, do you think that Michael Penix, if he comes back, do you like the hire?
Stefanski, I think
I like the second chance.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it because you have the offense around. For me, it's just like establishing the quarterback. So I don't know because we've seen Stefanski. Him and Baker don't have a real good relationship. I don't feel like he's respected.
That'll be next.
Yeah, I don't feel like he respected Baker on his way out. He hasn't respected Shedeur Sanders. He didn't respect him. That's a big reason probably why he got fired. The whole Deshaun Watson thing was awful. I think that was more management than maybe Stefanski. But his relationship with quarterbacks I feel like is not very good. It's up and down for sure. So, if you can keep that quarterback room with Kirk and Penix, that's fine. Maybe do what I'm talking about in Minnesota. You have a veteran quarterback and then a young quarterback to learn. Don't rush him in there. Penix, maybe he just wasn't ready yet. So maybe you keep Kirk Cousins in there for another year, let Penix get better and better and better and learn. And then maybe next year, in 2 years, it could be Penix's team, if he's gotten better.
Yeah, for
Same
sure.
thing in
For
Minnesota.
sure.
Same kind of philosophy, I think, is what you're trying to get with, So it really depends on that quarterback situation for Stefanski. But I think Stefanski, he's got the up and coming defense. He's got the pieces on offense, a great running back, number one maybe a number one wide receiver in
One
Drake
of them.
London. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Kyle Pitts. He's going to be a big name in free agency. We saw when he had a competent quarterback what he could do, and that's been Kyle Pitts' biggest thing is everybody's like, what happened to this dude? He fell off, one of the biggest busts ever. I think you just need a quarterback that relies on a tight end, and Kirk Cousins his whole career has been great with tight ends, starting off with Jordan Reed back in Washington. So, I think it just depends who you bring in. But Kyle Pitts is a big piece too. But I think it's just all depends on what they're going to do at the quarterback position and what Kirk Cousins is going to do. Because I think now after 2 years after his ACL tear or his Achilles tear, I think this year he finally felt comfortable. It takes a while, 1 year, and then going back out there at week 1 against Pittsburgh last year, not this past year, but the year before, his first game as a starter was against Pittsburgh. And, the first month of the season, you could just tell he was kind of favoring that Achilles. He wasn't throwing the ball with the same oomph that he used to have. Not saying that he had the strongest arm ever, but you could see he could fit the ball and make almost any throw. So I think now with over a year of healing, feeling comfortable, getting the confidence back in the torn Achilles and everything like that, his game stepped up for sure. And we saw the old Cousins.
Definitely. And Santi does say right there, Stefanski hasn't really developed anybody. I don't know that he's really – I like it. You could make the argument that outside of Baker, it's been hard to develop anyone over there in Cleveland. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, he's had success with what? Case Keenum, Kirk Cousins. He had success with Baker Mayfield. I think that was more or less about the organization than it was about Kevin Stefanski, that's a whole nother topic about Andrew Berry still being the GM for the Cleveland Browns. But Baker Mayfield, hit or miss. A lot of us want to crown him right away because of his antics, and I love me some Baker, especially after yesterday. Baker Mayfield took his emotions to the internet, responding to some random fan, or to me at least, this is some random fan, but it says D. Orlando Ledbetter, which is, I'm assuming, just some random person. He says Falcons Kevin Stefanski has a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. QB Shador Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts. And Baker Mayfield, he had some time yesterday as he's just probably eating dinner while he's sitting on the toilet, just as his legs get numb, scrolling. And he's like, I don't like this. Go and respond. And this is what Baker Mayfield said. Feld is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on the text call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. Woo-hoo! Baker Mayfield spicing up the NFL yet again. This is beautiful soap opera. This is novellas at its peak in the NFL. I absolutely love this, JB. And when I saw this, I also thought, holy crap, how did we just bypass the fact that the Titans hired Robert Saleh, and then Robert Saleh and Liam Cohen had that beef? Novella's getting juicy up in the sports world. Whenever you saw this, JB, what'd you think?
Man, I mean, that's now Baker's he's got to back up the talk, right? He's got to back up the talk. And I don't know. Like I said, we just talked about the quarterback position in Atlanta. I think that's the only thing up in the air. Other than that, Atlanta's got, I think, more talent on the roster offensively and defensively right now than the Bucks. And Baker, Baker's been good. He's never been great. So he's got a lot of talk. He's got to put he's got to walk the walk. You can talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk too. So man, it's a lot that you're putting on. It's a lot of
yourself.
A lot
of pressure to put on yourself here.
Yeah, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself just saying that. So that's going to be heavily scrutinized once they do play. That's going to be the talk in the air that week before they play, that full week before they play. So I don't know if I like it, but hey, that's Baker though. That's Baker though. That's what he is.
For the worst division in football, I'm pretty excited to watch them play next year. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited. You know what's funny about this tweet too, JB? This tweet is the added context to this tweet. This is so fun. I love whenever community guidelines start to come in, whenever people just throw out text. It says readers added context. Under Stefanski 2020 to 2025, the Browns had 13 starting quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, however, led them to an 11-5 record in 2020, their first playoff berth since 2002, and win since 1994. He played through a significant shoulder injury in 2021, and that's kind of whenever his career kind of came to an end there in Cleveland. He did beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs. That's a massive deal for a lot of Cleveland Browns fans. I remember we also went and watched the divisional round. That was probably one of the most fun times I've had around a community of football people. And I was Logan Raider out there in Albuquerque with his friend group of a bunch of Brownies. It's a good time, man. They kind of they made me reinvest myself into my own team. Like if they were able to still have this excitement after so many years in the dump, and when I saw that, I'm like, bro, I can hold on to this Cowboy faithful for quite some time. I got to stay loyal to the roots. Ever since we walked out of that room or that living room that day, I was like, yo, I will never turn. I may get a little crazy. I may get a little delulu. I might lose my marbles. I do a daily show, so I have to every now and then. I get it as part of the gimmick, but man, oh man, do I love me some Dallas Cowboys football. I'd say you'd probably say the same thing, right?
Yeah, gotta stay loyal. Gotta stay loyal. If we ain't loyal to anything else, we'll be loyal to our teams.
There you go, baby. Yo. Hey, yo, what's going on? I got to stay loyal to the game, baby. Stay loyal to the game. JB, that was, man, shout out to Kevin Stefanski, though. Hopefully, he this is second chance, and it feels like he's got a lot of pieces around him to make him have success. And now it's all up to him and Jeff Albright. So shout out to them boys. Hopefully, the Atlanta Falcons can go on a run. I like the Atlanta Falcons, man. That fan base is always pretty rowdy as well. They always show up. Their stadium's always packed, and it always seems like a good time. Also, Matt Ryan, he was hired as president of operations. These were his first moves. So it seems like we're on the up and up. Up and up. You know what I saw yesterday was Matt Ryan had to be released of his CBS duties because of his spot with the Atlanta Falcons, but yet Tom Brady, the internet's starting to spin this, but Tom Brady's allowed to do whatever
Right.
he wants.
Because Matt Ryan, he's the VP. Like he makes personnel decisions. Tom Brady just bought a minority of the team. He's not technically making decisions, but you know that he's a decision maker.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be one of the decision makers.
You talking about the guy in the Raider outfit at the national championship, watching maybe possibly the first round pick, making no decisions? Is that what you just said right there?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, it is the GOAT. I get it. We might have to bend some rules for the greatest ever, but it does come off a little like, Well, I mean, ultimately though, the Raiders stink. So until they win, I don't know that this gets any traction whatsoever. But once they start winning, boy, oh boy, will the NFL world get loud about Tom Brady being able to call games and be in rooms with other head coaches to get the scoop, to get the juice, even though these coaches have come out and said that those pregame rituals where they go meet with the broadcasting crew, they don't really say anything outside of what they would say in an interview anyways. So what effect does it really have? But Tom Brady, one of the greatest minds, you got to assume that he's going to flip this Las Vegas Raiders team around. And when he does, if he does, it's going to be a good time for football, because it does feel like that fan base hasn't had success in quite some time, and it's always good when the Raiders play some good football. JB, one more thing before we move on. Well, actually, let's just go ahead and move on here. Let's talk about the games this weekend, JB. We do got the Seattle Seahawks. We'll just talk about them just a little bit. But we'll go in depth more tomorrow. I just want to know what your reaction is to the Los Angeles Rams going over to Seattle, as the Seahawks seem to be back. Not the Legion of Boom, but the reason of boom.
Yeah.
Of why they're having success right now, JB. You like that? You love that Seattle Seahawks defense, huh?
I think it's the best defense still left. I think they're the most complete team still left in the dance. So they really, the blow to Charbonnet, that kind of hurts the run game, but I don't think that changes anything. I think you go into that Rams game wanting to control the clock. You keep Stafford kind of on the sideline. You don't want this to really turn into a shootout where we're going to see points like in the 30s. You don't want that to happen. And I don't really think it is going to happen. I think it might be mid 20s, maybe high 20s. Defense has got to come to play. Everything's got to work out. I say it work out in Seahawks' favor. Like but I Rams have just as good of a shot to win this. It's going to be a close game. Anytime you see a team for the third time, you don't know what's going to happen. It could go both ways. It could be a blowout. It could be overtime. We don't know what to expect, but they're going to come into the game, I think, feeling out each other and what they're going to be trying to take away. And then we're going to see a lot of adjustments on the fly. We're going to see a lot of changes by McVay at halftime, even maybe before halftime. We're going to see some adjustments, but I think we're going to see some real time adjustments regardless. This is going to be a highly competitive chess match. It's not checkers anymore. This is going to be chess, and there's going to be any little thing to try to exploit the other team, and everything's on the line right here. So for me, I think if Seattle can just play a clean game, if Darnold can control the game and make the throws that he needs to make, I don't feel comfortable with Darnold throwing over 30 times, maybe 25 times, and see what we can get out of that. But you have to have the run game go your way. You have to get a turnover or two. You have to force Stafford into a couple mistakes. So that's the Seahawks formula I think they got to take to win the game for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the criticism on the Rams have been that defense hasn't looked as good as of late. But this past weekend against the Chicago Bears, man, they were outstanding. What they have two turnovers or three turnovers that picked to end the game, and they kept them in the game as well. And obviously, as you watch the Rams, you just kind of see them game manage. Sean McVay flipped the switch middle of that game, adjusted to how the defense was performing, and just allowed Matthew Stafford to kind of manage that game. And then slowly but surely, you give that man the ball at the end, he will go and deliver. JB, I know a couple weeks ago, several weeks ago, I mean, we're talking like week 14, week 12, we had brought up, hey, Matthew Stafford, if he wins MVP and wins the Super Bowl, this guy needs to be talked about as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And it sounds like now the sports media world, I'm going to say I sent it over to ESPN and they kind of took what we said and now they're starting to spread it out to the world. So shout out to ESPN for doing that for us. But it seems like that whole thing's starting to kind of sprawl around the NFL world. Are you still stand on that statement? You still believe that if Matthew Stafford goes on and wins the Super Bowl, does feel like he's going to win MVP? If he goes on and wins this Super Bowl, maybe we do put him ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
That would be, that part would definitely be debatable for sure. There's going to be Aaron Rodgers fans that will keep Rodgers in front of Stafford. But, man, if you can pull off two Super Bowls, I think you'll finish. I don't think you're going to – oh, man. When it comes to a quarterback, you look at the quarterback play in itself. As far as quarterback talent, Aaron Rodgers, I think is – because he could do it on he was mobile. He could make any throw, on the run, and that's something that Stafford's not great at doing is getting out of the pocket. Even when he was younger, he was not an athletic type of guy that was going to make anything happen with his feet. But as far as quarterback, Aaron Rodgers might still be top 5 all time. But as far as what Stafford's done in his whole career, I think I would put Stafford as a top 15 if he can pull this off. I think that seems fair. 15, maybe 20. I don't know, something like that. But
I like him in the top 10, but
I
definitely think if he loses, it's a tough look. It's a very tough look because this might be the best team that he's had. I mean, you got Devontae, you got Puka, you got Williams.
I don't know.
You got a solid offensive line.
Yeah. I think
Sean
offensively,
McVay, you have no excuses.
Yeah, offensively, it could be the best team he's had all time. Defensively, I don't think it's the best team. I think that Rams defense that won it all back in 2020 was better than this defense for sure. But this is the closest.
That team, obviously, that defense led by Aaron Donald. That team was based on getting pressure on the quarterback. This team feels more like a collective defense. More team defense rather than just relying on your front four to get to the quarterback. That's what I'm saying. There's no excuse. You had both recipes on defense. You have a hell of an offense, and now really it just comes down to what you're able to do. So for me, Matthew Stafford, all the pressure in the world. If there's any pressure, I feel like it's more on Matthew Stafford of any of the quarterbacks this weekend. Also, maybe even Sam Darnold. I guess both of the NFC teams, the chips on their shoulders, because Sam Darnold's still going to have that nugget of like, if Seattle loses, it's going to be because of Sam. Like, you just got to put pressure on Sam. It's like how you said earlier. It's like you don't want to see Sam have to throw 30 times. Like, we're going to continue to say that until Sam gets over that hump. Can he get them to a victory? Because I think that's what's going to happen. I think Sean McVay is going to shut down that running game and force Sam Darnold to beat us. And if he does, you just kind of tip the hat. Like, all right, man, damn, you got us. You know what I mean? That's really what it's going to come down to. It's going to be interesting the way that plays out, man. I love it. And then vice versa, I think what's going to happen here is like they're going to get the ball out of Stafford's hand and kind of force them to run the ball. And if the Rams can't run the ball, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting. But Devontae Adams has to have more touches than just 6 targets last week. But made the most important catch there in overtime on the sideline to extend the drive. Yeah. So, yeah, football this weekend is going to be so good, JB. So good. But before we move on to the next game, let's listen to what Sean McVay had to say to get these boys amped up before they go in and win the game in OT against the Chicago Bears.
We are winning this game. Whatever happened, who cares? Move on. Be present. Let's go. Let's go. Get it up in here. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, when I saw this yesterday, JB, I was like, damn, Sean McVay sounds like he's cold as hell. Like you can hear it in his voice.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like his voice is going out.
Yeah, for sure. But both of us picked the NFC team to win a championship at the beginning of all this. I said the Rams will win the Super Bowl. We went on the show. We went down, broke down each game, and you picked the Seattle Seahawks to win it all. Both teams are still in, so we'll see how that plays out. But then we go over to the AFC, where some people are saying a bit of frauds on both sides. You know, I saw this cool stat that said we've been talking about Drake May having the easiest schedule of all time and the New England Patriots. Easiest schedule of all time. Who is right behind them? The Denver Broncos with the second easiest schedule of all time. And now they lose Bo Nix, who kind of brought out something in himself, a dog. We saw a dog come out last week. So kudos to what he was able to accomplish, Bo Nix. And now they got Jared Stidham being the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. No excuses. That's what I've been told. We are not making any excuses whatsoever. This Denver Broncos defense is very capable of getting them to the Super Bowl, JB. That's at least what I've been told. Okay, that's what I've been told. But you tell me, what are the chances of the Denver Broncos getting to the Super Bowl after this weekend?
All right, well, give me a minute.
Bum, bum, bum. Yo, those comments been loud. They're like, yo, Borba.
In case you're new to the show,
let me
spin it back real quick for y'all Broncos fans and double down on what I said the other day. Just in case you didn't hear it. Denver is the most fraudulent 1 seed in NFL history. Y'all were +4 in the turnover battle against Josh Allen and Josh Allen only. The refs bailed you out of a blown call in OT. And what do? You win by 3 points. You win by 3 points. And that's y'all's team that you're so high on. And now you're riding into the biggest game of the season. The biggest game of the season in over a decade for this team. And what are you going to do? You're going to bring out Jared Stidham. The guy who hasn't even thrown a pass since 2023. Has a record of 1-3 as a starter. Has a completion percentage of 59%. That's y'all's QB. 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Y'all are going to sit there delusional enough and tell me that Mike Vrabel, the runner-up for MVP, possible MVP, and Drake May, you're telling me you're going to beat those boys? Give me a break. Broncos fans. Let's ride, baby. Let's ride that. Let's ride that into the sunset. All right.
I like that, JV. With that being said, I mean, the one thing with the Broncos fans,
that's all I have to say.
Be humble in victory and be humble in your losses. But most importantly, be humble in your victory. And what I've seen from Denver Broncos fans is like this delusion of it's almost like the Chicago Bears fans, where it's like they're like, did you not pay attention to the fourth quarter? And it's like, yo, do you not pay attention to the first 3 quarters? You can't tell someone you don't know ball, but then not think about quarters 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? Like, I get Bo Nix and Caleb Williams have had all these comebacks, but why are they in those situations to begin with? That's the question that I want answered, JB. And it seems like anytime I go and throw that question out there, it's like, yeah, but who wins? And it's like, no, I get that. I can admit that. I'm cool admitting that. We can admit that Caleb Williams and Bo Nix have shown that in the crunch of time, they have been able to deliver. That's dope. That's cool. I like that. For me, if I had that in my quarterback, I'd be excited about games. But to me, also, it's like, all right, if we don't have a great game defensively, we are never in those situations whatsoever. And our quarterback is the reason we're in those situations to begin with. So when we have this hoorah about comeback wins and whatnot, let's remember why we're in those situations to begin with. So whenever I ask a question like, what is the reason? If this team loses, what would be the reason that they lose? Now, I bet you they're going to be like, well, it's because we have a backup quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, it's going to have – now, all of a sudden, we're looking at all four quarters with a backup quarterback.
You can't go back to that because all week, all I've seen in the comments, all I've seen in social media is that this team believes in Jared Stidham. Sean Payton said it himself. He thinks this guy can be a starter. That's what these guys are riding. You go to Jared Stidham's like last Instagram post, dude. It blew up, and he's got like thousands of comments. We believe in you, Jared. We believe in you. Like, these are Broncos fans. Take us all the way. Lead us all the way. That's what they're all saying. Okay? So I don't want to hear no excuse. Oh, we had Jared Stidham. No. You guys are riding high. You're one game away from the Super Bowl. This is the reality of it. I don't know.
Yep. And you want to know what the beauty of all this is, JB? The comments were pretty loud yesterday. But there's this line that can be used. 575-808-9307. You can call in and give us the take of your life. We would actually appreciate if you called in and answered the questions that we had, because we just want to know if we're uneducated. Please come on and educate us, please. You know what I mean, JB? If you have a perspective to give, come on and let us know. There's no hard feelings here, bro. If we're not trying to be biased, completely biased at least. We're just asking the questions, and hopefully you can answer them. But whenever the answer is, watch the fourth quarter, it's like, come on, bud. Let's watch the whole game, though, too. You know? Let's not be completely delusional. And I get it. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I understand what you're saying. I get it. We want to turn the eye to the bad stuff, but let's just be realistic about it. And I think that the Denver Broncos obviously have a chance, JB. Let's not act like this team doesn't have a chance. This team has been carried by their defense all season. So for us to just assume that defense is going to fall off would be nonsense, right? So let's not completely act like this Denver Broncos team is just going to go out there and get BTA, right? They obviously do have a chance. I do like the Broncos' chance, especially like the whole thing with Drake May and not being able to hold on to the ball. And when you watch that game, as the announcer saying, it's like, man, if Drake May can just, if Drake May, the ball is the program. The ball is the program. The one thing you want to take care of is what? The football. The football is the most important thing on that field. So for me, if you look at that Houston game and it's just like, damn, if Drake May doesn't have all these fumbles, how much worse can this game have looked? If Drake May goes out this weekend and just has a clean game, JB, the ultimate game manager game, that's what we need from Drake May in this matchup. Don't be the reason you'll lose the game. Just don't be the reason you'll lose the game. And I think the Patriots go out this weekend and absolutely just mollywop this team. Mollywop this team. Let's remember, Bo Nix only showed up in the fourth quarter. Bo Nix only showed up in the fourth quarter. So you telling me this backup quarterback's supposed to show up for 4? You hear me, JB?
I hear you.
Bo Nix only shows up for the fourth quarter. So you expect me to believe that a backup quarterback's supposed to come in and show up for 4? J.K. Dobbins is coming back. Okay. No disrespect to J.K. Dobbins, but how long has he been missing?
First game back, and we saw what that defense did against Houston. They couldn't gain a yard. They could not run the ball.
As of now, honestly, you could honestly make the argument after what we've seen in the playoffs that maybe the Patriots got a better defense. Maybe the product that the Patriots are putting out there is better than what Denver has done all season. Right?
Yep.
But Denver Broncos fans, use the line 575-808-9307. It's easy. Let us know. If we're dumb, that's cool. Let me know. Man, that was good, JB. Got me sweating, boy. This Broncos game is gonna be so good though, and the fact that I do like that the fans are getting a little delulu about Jarrett Stidham.
You should.
Because
I mean, you really
as
should.
you should.
You're one
You
game
should,
away,
right?
you know?
And if they do win, we might have to come up here on Monday with the Denver Broncos jersey.
We might not. We might never go live again. You
If the
might never see me
Broncos win.
on this thing again, dude.
Little PTO. Does
Yep.
SOL offer PTO? I don't even know. That company's in the red, son. That company's not ran very properly, but it's all good. SOL is so fun because I just sponsor shit that I ain't supposed to sponsor because I don't even have the money to do it. But yo, shout out to the youth sports in this world. Shout out to youth sports in Roswell. There's a lot of news sprawling around about youth sports here locally. Get it together. Adults, get it together. Come on.
Yeah, man. Come
But,
on. Little
but JB, for real, man, we might end up, both our backgrounds might be orange come Monday, and it ain't gonna be for the Artesia Bulldogs. It's gonna be for these Denver Broncos if they somehow squeak out this win, man. But shout out to the delusion. I love it. Keep drinking up the delusion. You should be hyped. You should have been. I always say this. This is what I always say throughout the week. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You kind of put yourself in this like where you're gathering information, and you're just like, all right, talk myself into a W. Talk myself into a W. Then Thursday, you kind of flip that switch where you're like, there's a reason why Sean Payton brought over Jarrett Stidham 2 years ago, started developing him just in the background. He was also a backup of Bo Nix in college, so he's got to be very familiar with the system. Sean Payton is supposed to be a quarterback guru, this offensive genius. We have a chance, you know what I mean? You get to Friday and you're just like, Sean Payton might be up to something. And then Saturday, you go have a little bit of fun with the friends, maybe drink one or two brewskis or just hang out with the fam or whatever. And then on Sunday, you wake up and you're like, dude, Sean Payton he's Super Bowl champion. This guy went out and won it with Drew Brees. Like, this can happen. Sean Payton can carry this offense to a Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden, the game starts and you're like, we're going to win. Jarrett Stidham might win MVP today. Jarrett Stidham might be. And then there in the fourth quarter, you might just be like, I knew this the whole time. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this guy. But, man, get yourself up as high as you can, Broncos fan, because it's fun. But the fall down does suck. I will say that. And I experienced the fall down a little too often. But, damn, we might come back on Monday's show. JB might not show up until like 7:45.
I might not. Might not.
But it's gonna be a good time, man. But we'll be back tomorrow. We will have our college footballer, Mr. Dominguez, the Seahawks fan. He'll be joining us tomorrow to break down Seattle Seahawks football, and then we'll give our picks, and then we'll go more in depth. And tomorrow will be a non-biased show, so we'll break down both sides on the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos, so that way we can get our money right. We can figure out where exactly we should put our money on what side, and what the chances really are for the Denver Broncos to be able to overcome losing their quarterback in an AFC Championship game, man. But it's gonna be fun. Our producer Jay may possibly be going to that game in Denver, so that's gonna be fun. We'll be able to get some cool videos from out there from that game, man. And I'm sure a lot of folks from Roswell, there's a lot of Denver Broncos fans rolling around in Roswell. I'm sure a lot of them are probably gonna go out there, so safe travels to those people. And JB, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yep.
6:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, right? And if you got anything to say, baby, 575-808-9307. Let us know. Whatever you got on your mind, let it out. This is a safe space to get your sports fix. This is Speaking Out Loud. Be a friend. Tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Shout out PMS. See ya.